Oh, audio not working.
Catapult themselves in a better place on the leaderboard. I like what you said about Afterlife, though. Beating Pirates in pajamas, because that is a team that has been looking exceptional. There is a one, two, three, four teams have a 3-1 record. Only one team has a better record than that, and that is O3 Splash, who is going to be playing a few games today as well. I believe their second match is going to be at 9 p.m. today. They take on Dragon Dance, who is currently sitting at the bottom echelon of the leaderboards, but they are looking to remain undefeated in that regard. But if you're able to beat one of those top tier teams, then you could really put up a fight against any single team that you play. But who knows, maybe that was just a day that Afterlife they were hot. Maybe that was a day that Pirates and Pajamas were just playing a little bit less hot. It could be a number of different things when you just look at it on paper, because you just look at it on paper and you say, oh dang, they managed to beat Pirates and Pajamas somehow. But the overall story of the game might have been a little different. But that's all in the past, Hunter Tane. It is time for this match.
Yes, exactly. And like I said, it's going to be a very exciting match. Both of these teams, although we are still in the early parts of the round robin, both of these teams need to win this match and keep that momentum, because there's still a lot of tough opponents waiting for them. Good Boys still have to go against Saints. They have to go against O3 Smash, Timeless, a lot of very tough teams. So they need to be able to beat a team like Afterlife to kind of keep their head above water for the time being.
Yeah, keep their head above water is the name of the game. And in the way that this works is first to three for both of these teams. So if you lose that first game, maybe you lose the second game as well, you are still able to make those roster changes and make some substitutions, maybe pick a map that the other team hasn't scrimmaged as much. So first map is going to be standard for all teams, so it's not one team's choice or another. And that first map is going to be Busan, which I remember you telling me a little bit earlier that this is not even technically in the map pool, but it is still being played.
Yeah, this is the only time that Busan will be the starting map. And yes, it's not even in the map pool. So the only time we're going to see this map is right here and right now. So you better take in this experience while you have it.
And something I do like about Busan is the different, objectives and like rounds you can play. Depending on which one you get, really changes what type of composition that you play. Because if you play downtown, for example, which is where we see that cow right there, just on top with the fork and the knife, he's looking pretty hungry right there. But that is a very open map. You can play a multitude of different compositions. You can play dive, you can play brawl, you can maybe even get away with a rush composition. But then if you go to something like Mecha Base, it is a lot harder to play some free moving compositions. You're really kind of, I think, forced into playing brawl just because of how close quarters it is. But I mean, you can always get away with a dive just because of how strong, heroes like Winston are right now. But those close quarter combat maps can make all the difference in your composition, and we'll have to see what the luck of the draw is. And hey, It is Mecha Base first map, so we'll have to see if both of these teams opt for something like that, or if they try and stick to something like the dive.
Yeah, exactly. And Good Boys might be the team that has the slightly rough time of it. In their last couple of matchups, they were a very dive-centric team. They ran a lot of the Tracer, Echo, Winston. They seem to favor that a lot. So they're going to be starting out with the Ramattra here, running more of a standard brawl. Meanwhile, Afterlife, kind of the same thing, actually. It's likely going to be a mirror matchup, because I don't think Fix is looking to stay on the life waiver there.
Dang it. I was hoping we were going to see the Life Weaver this game. It's something that we do not see that often, if at all, Hunter Tane. And I am always a big fan of new things, breaking the meta, creating your own meta. But both of these teams looking to create some type of opportunities to win this game. Mirror matchup is going to be it, and they are going to find themselves clashing early on this high ground.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to take over this space, trying to dominate to the best of their ability. Lethal still has that wall ready to go whenever it is needed, but right now it's Good Boys. They're going to take the initiative, try to go in, look for that pick. You're going to see the Immortality Field used on both sides kind of early right now. Lethal and Rhino both won, and they're going to take advantage of that. And Lethal is going to be the first to go down. Fix is shortly following afterwards, and the rest of Afterlife is going to get picked off here, or going to have to try to work their way out. But this first fight is going to go into the favor of Good Boys, and Rhino's going to work their way back to the spawn room, as that is a good first fight win for Good Boys.
Good Boys taking the initiative, just like you said, making a statement early on, and their ultimate banks really show that. And Lethal. Lethal, you better hope your team's able to save you, and they're able to destroy the wall fast enough that he is able to get out right there. So no staggering of the maze is going to happen tonight.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the big difference right now. Rhino is only 50% to that Annihilation right now. And meanwhile, Salty has it right there, and it's going to come out very quickly as well. They want to push through this as quick as possible, but Salty was not ready to run into the Amplification Matrix right there. So now it's all tied up. We're going to see the freeze come in as well. Nobody getting caught in it right now, so the advantage kind of on the side of Afterlife. But just like that, leave it to the supports, leave it to Noctis and Pascal to turn this fight around right now. And they're going to be able to do so, as it's just Mixer that's trying to get out of here, and right now that's a really good fight win for them. The support's really clutching it up.
I think it was a very expensive ultimate for Good Boys, though. Expensive fight overall. They used a lot of ultimates in that fight, used 3 entirely. Afterlife only popped 1, so they are the ones who have the ultimate advantage going into this next fight. They have both DPS ultimates as well as Fix's B and close to Rhino's Annihilation. It looks like they're trying to go in right now.
Yeah, they're going to try to get there quickly, but Fix is going to drop before that Fix is even going to fully come online. But it's Zero right now that's going to try to bring this back around for the team. Pascal being taken out first. The Immortality Field is gone, but it's Salty that's just running through this back line, taking out both of the DPS now. And Thunder decides to pop the overclock. They really wanted to get the finish right now, and it's just Rhino trying to stay up to the best of their ability. You do see the supports are trying to come back in, keep them up right now, but it's just them right now. And it's 90% and counting, and Rhino the only one holding down the point at this moment. The Immortality Field is going to get forced out. Fix has that beat, though. This is the one chance. This is what they need to turn this around right now. They have to be able to take down Salty, but with Rhino dropping, it's looking less likely like it's going to happen. Lethal is going to have to drop on the point for the stall, but with only a couple members remaining in the freeze directly on top of Lethal, it's not looking likely. The last couple of opportunities to touch coming through, but it's just not going to be enough right now. The staggers still coming through, but the rest are finally picked off, and Good Boys, rather dominantly, are going to take Mega Base.
I thought Afterlife had it there with the ultimates that they had saved up. I thought this was the time, and I thought this was the place that they were able to make a fight and secure that, and maybe, get 30 or 40% before another major engagement, went through. But Good Boys able to hold down the fort, able to, hold off long enough that their team was able to get the respawns, able to build up their own ultimates. Early on, I believe it was a battle of the overclocks. Both Sojourns had popped their ultimates, and it was Good Boys who came on top of that engagement. But now we're seeing some vastly different compositions coming out of these two teams, and we're seeing the Lucio Ana for Afterlife actually going to be Kiriko Ana. They swapped it over. They bamboozled me a little bit right there, and so support lines are going to be the exact same. But Good Boys, Salty on the Doomfist.
Right. We did see Salty on the Doomfist in the first few matchup as well. They did try it a few times. It was successful a good amount, believe it or not, even running into a Sombra. But it's a little bit of a situation when you're running into Lethal, obviously previously a part of that London Spitfire squad very recently. And now they're going to be hunting into that back line, trying to get the hack off on Pascal, successful in doing so, but not quite finding the pick right yet. Biz playing with Pascal, keeping each other alive, doing a very good job of doing so, but right now it's Afterlife that's kind of taking control of this point for the moment. Being Salty has to be very careful moving in here. That one nade is all it's going to be able to take Salty out of this fight. but you might not even need the nade when you're already as low as you are. Without any follow-up, Afterlife is going to get the first touch onto that point and take it over. Meanwhile, the rest of Good Boys trying to somehow bring back this fight, but it's going to be a really tough time to do so. And if I'm them, maybe not getting out at all. Zera gets headshot. Noctis manages to find the opening pick, so now this is open back up. Salty is getting back into this fight, and with Lethal dropping, there's no DPS left for Afterlife. The rest of them are going to be picked off, and Good Boys quickly taking back control.
It looked good for Afterlife. This is their first percentage of this first map at all, so it's better than the last map, but Good Boys. You know, after Salty went down, I thought Afterlife are just going to be able to hold this position for, you know, a good little while, but it didn't matter. Biz, Thunder, and Noctis as well, who was, you know, getting a few little cheeky kills right there off to the back of it, and Lethal, gotta be careful, goes down to under 100 HP. But yeah, Good Boys just able to get a few picks, which turned into a lot of picks, which turned into them winning the point. And now they have more percentage than Afterlife does. And Ultimate Banks looking pretty similar for both teams.
Yeah, the biggest difference right now is Rhino is only at that 60%. Once again, low on that ult charge at this point in the fight, but they are going to come in. That Considering Rush is going to start them out. Salty getting hacked. Does manage to stay alive. Noctis doing a good job of doing so. The Nano is ready to go as well. They might hand it over to Salty here at any moment right now, but they're going to send out multiple ults right now. Biz, though, is the one who ultimately is getting taken out first right now. And with that right there, that's going to take away a ton of their damage. The Bob is not going to be able to produce enough damage right now, as Afterlife is going to flip over the point, and the rest of Good Boys, they just have to try to escape with their lives, but I don't think Salty's going to do it.
Yeah, at the very least, I mean, Afterlife, you did get the point, so you don't need to worry about, you know, going too far in there to try and get more eliminations. I've seen too many teams, you know, try and press their advantage after they secure the point only to die and then immediately lose the point. So good on them for, you know, knowing their limits, knowing that they should not put their foot on the gas, but maybe pump the brakes a little bit. And Fix just going to get dove on. Salty taking names. Look at two.
Salty gets two. Fantastic job. And if you're the rest of Afterlife, you don't have much to throw into this. Rhino likely going to hold on to the ultimate. It's as easy as that. And look, Lethal ended up using the EMP. That's a massive loss for them to have this late into the fight.
And they were going to try and push in there a little bit, but I do think backing off, like I said, is the correct call. Not pushing in there too far, dying, and then immediately losing all your advantage. And, you know, Good Boys, they must have had a bounty out on Fix's head, because they used, and they had it again.
Oh.
Goodbye, Fix.
Salty has a grudge against Fix today, as right now Salty gonna have to get out for the moment, but now it's about to be 80% in counting right now. Afterlife has to be able to get to this point shortly, and getting that pick on Thunder is going to open the door to do so right now. You do say Rhino does have the Annihilation ready to go if it is needed. A lot of ultimates, in fact, coming online for Afterlife, and it's on Good Boys to try to stall at this point, because after the loss of Salty right now, it's going to be incredibly tough to take back this point, and I think they're just going to get out of there reset, as they only really need the one more fight to win Busan.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to push it into overtime for them to guarantee it whenever they secure it next time. Granted, it was going to be guaranteed anyways, but a little bit of the time of the overtime is pushed off because they had already secured it. But Good Boys coming up on 4 ultimates. I have it now. Afterlife only has 3, so now would be the time to, you know, press that advantage, and the EMP is going to counter it. Noctis just going to fall.
Yeah, Lethal's gonna get that EMP off first right now. Biz still has it ready to go though, and it's tied up, but Rhino takes out Biz directly afterwards. Salty is looking like the last hope right now. Only Salty and Thunder left on the point right now, but Thunder is gone. Noctis might be the only one that might be able to get close to this point right now, and I think they're too far away.
Yeah, I don't think Noctis can touch. Just that's so unlucky for Good Boys. Salty was 95% to his ultimate. Would have made an absolute difference, you know, being able to pop that ultimate, jump back onto the point, get some shield from your passive, and then be able to continue the fight. But we are going to find ourselves on downtown, the most open of the maps, I would say. And, you know, this is the time for these teams to switch it up a little bit if they want. And Good Boys are doing just that. They did have the Reaper May, but they are going to go to the Reaper Sombra, which I am not opposed to whatsoever. And Afterlife gonna swap to the Brig, Ana, and the Winston.
Yeah, it's a comp we've seen a lot, a comp that has been not only very successful, but very popular as well. We've seen it in the Overwatch League here, Contenders streams. You've seen it everywhere thus far. that Brig and Ana can do really well to keep each other up and work with each other, but Good Boys for now, they don't want any of that right now. They're going to go right to point and try to hold on there for the time being. They're not going to want to get out of there unless they really believe that they can chase somebody down properly. Rhino, who's going to have a very tough time getting in there, has to find the opening. Lethal probably looking for the hack right now, already getting up to 30% on that ultimate. Doing a good job so far as Good Boys are going on the chase right now. They didn't find who they were looking for as Biz went down to 1, had to pull up for the time being. Noctis gets antied, gets very low, and right now it's Good Boys who are looking to kind of regroup together as they take out 2 members. They decided, hey, let's push that stun room. They won't see it coming. And right now, it's just Lethal and Rhino, the only ones left alive, and they're going to get the cap, only giving them 10%, as they're going to move back on, and they're gonna hold really strong here as Zero is going to head over to the Echo now.
Yeah, so that is a bit of a high-risk, high-reward strategy out of Good Boys there, because if you are able to get a few kills and stagger your opponents, then you just immediately go back and secure the point. The only issue is, if you don't kill anyone there, you just concede all of the pressure over to Afterlife. They have, you know, that prio, because now you guys are sandwiched in between them, as well as getting the point percentage towards in their favor. But now they were able to get that. The EMP goes out, and isn't going to be enough to take down Salty.
It almost was. Salty got extremely low. All the damage is being pressed onto them, but eventually it's going to be enough. The question is Biz going to try to throw that EMP back into this fight? It's a 4v5 right now, and it looks like they're just going to have to force their way out after the Nano is thrown onto Rhino.
Good fight out of Afterlife, only having to use 2 ultimates to win that, and Good Boys even committed one themselves, committed the Coalescence. It wasn't enough to save Salty's life, as we saw he died at the very beginning of that fight, which, you know, was all the momentum that Afterlife needed to start that engagement. And now Good Boys sort of stuck in this little chokehold. Biz does have the EMP available, so this could be a good engagement tool for them if they can find the proper opening. And there it goes right there. Yeah. Goodbye.
Just use it directly on his Zero right there, and they're taking over very quickly right there. Biz had a little bit of a grudge, as right now they're going to have the advantage. They're trying to force this cap while they can. You see Rhino in the Primal Rage trying to knock around some bodies, do what they can, but they're getting low already. The counter EMP is going to come out, though. A lot of members low. Noctis is going to be the first to fall. It's very close. A lot of the members of Afterlife low, but there's no longer any follow-up. Even though Salty is still alive, they're going to manage to get the 1 pick, the 2 pick. Maybe you just need the 2-man army. Maybe that's all you need right now, but Salty has to hit these shots right now, and they're going to find it. You can see the Coalescence is going to come online. They need to win this fight after investing this many ults into it. And with a 2v2 going around for Afterlife, they are going to eventually lose Rhino, and the flip is going to come over. A desperately needed one for Good Boys.
A flip right before Afterlife get to that 80% mark, which is incredibly huge. They did have to use both support ultimates there. I think it's very key to note, because if you pick, you know, he's got that Nano available. It could be all you need to win this fight. You just Nano Rhino right there. And Nano onto Zira, who goes and just blows Salty.
No. Goodbye, Salty. You saw that they got anti, they got beamed down. There was nothing that was going to save them from that engagement. And right now, the rest of the Good Boys, they just have to get out of here right now. So they have to reset, as right now Afterlife is 80% and counting. And they're only 1 fight right now, Pod, from taking this map.
Yeah, I'd like to remind everyone as well, that Echo Beam used normally only does 50 damage a second, but when the target is under 50% HP, does 175 damage per second. So if you are able to get someone like Salty below that 50% threshold, you can easily blow them up. Now 99% in favor of Afterlife, and the point's actually going to go to Good Boys.
Yeah, they get the free flip as right now. It's going to come down to Lethal's EMP. They're looking to use it right away. It's going to come out Salty. A lot of members getting caught, but nobody dropping quite yet. In fact, it's Rhino who's dropping first. Both of the tanks right now, but it's Thunder right now who's going to catch that first blood on the DPS side. As right now the rest of Afterlife has to quickly do a regroup, because they're going to have to try to touch this point right now, and it's likely going to be up to Lethal. And they're not going to have enough time for a full-on regroup. They just need to force that touch and then let Rhino get that point afterwards right now. They're going to get the stick, and there goes Fix, taken out by Thunder. That is a devastating loss to have, but Fixer was nowhere near the all right now. The EMP coming online. Rhino managing to work their way out of that in time, managing to dodge the Rampage as well, but he's so desperately low that Rhino just cannot survive, and Good Boys looking to finish off the last couple members of Afterlife Lethal, doing the best they can right now. They're trying to survive to the best of their ability, but it's just not going to be enough as Good Boys pull this back, and they're going to take Busan.
Whenever Good Boys secured that first point, and then I looked over at their ultimate banks, I knew that they were going to win this fight. Because Afterlife had, I think, maybe one ultimate to their name. Good Boys were coming on 5 ultimates. They were within 15 to 20% of all of their ultimates. And I knew at that moment, it's like they're going to have so many resources that Afterlife just simply aren't going to be able to, handle all of the ultimates being thrown at them, having that rampage, having the EMP, just all of those stacked on top of one another. You are not able to make it work. And, Rhino, he had Primal there at the very end, but he was antied from the rampage. So you are going in there trying to, cause as much chaos as you can, but your Ana died so much earlier. So you don't have that, those heals available to you. And all you have is a Brigitte with a rally, which, yeah, it's good healing, but it doesn't matter if you just get shredded down by an EMP, like I said, by that rampage, and you're not able to, have that as much rain as you want as this primal gorilla, and you just get burned down, and ultimately it all went downhill from there for Afterlife.
Yeah, exactly. And Good Boys had a lot of clutch fights in there as well. We talked about the one where it was just Salty and Pascal fighting alone on the point. They managed to pull out that coalescence and take that over. I think if they don't take that over, I think we're looking at a very different result here. As Good Boys, they did a really good job at a comp that needs a lot of rotations. You need to move quickly, and you need to move on these supports. And they did a fantastic job of doing that, managing to outpace a comp that is already meant to go fast in the first place. So they did a fantastic job here on Busan.
Yeah, and I think that flank at the very, start of it, getting the stick onto the Ana in the back line was ultimately, I think that was the unsung play of that entire engagement. Just picking off a hero like that at the very beginning changes an entire fight. But I know Afterlife are going to try and put that map behind them and move on to the next map, which is going to be Numbani.
Yeah, and Numbani, and this is not the best map for Good Boys. There are a couple of matchups that they've run Numbani. Both times it was picked against them, and both times they were full health on it. They did not make it past that first checkpoint either time. So every team right now is looking at those previous results and knowing this is where you want to take Good Boys.
Yeah, and I think Afterlife picked this map, grinning to themselves a little bit, knowing that, hey, every other team has been able to hold Good Boys on this first point. What makes us any different? And they themselves are going to have to prove that. So they are obviously on the attack first. So they have to get past the first point first. So Good Boys gonna try and reverse, this burden, this curse that has been placed on top of them, and make it past the first objective. And there are running a bit of a different comp than they have been playing, but Numbani is very good for the dive composition, not brawl favored whatsoever, just because of how many different high grounds there are. And we see Biz, on that Echo, Thunda on the Tracer, and the Ana Brigitte Winston composition for the rest of the team.
Yep, very standard right now. A lot of teams opting to run this Echo variation rather than the Sombra variation. It's really good for a map like Numbani. Biz, very familiar and very comfortable on this character right now. I'd be looking at them to be able to do something within this match, and as I say that, they get very low right there in that very first encounter. As right now, it's just a little game of who's going to strike first. Right now, they're just looking for that opportunity to dive right now, but with that nade in that back line, they're gonna have to hold off a little bit longer right now. Rhino looking for that perfect opportunity, but Good Boys just does not want to give it to them, but the opportunity is given as Pascal is taken out early, the nade following directly afterwards, and just like that, both of the Good Boys supports are gone, and though Biz is finding a pick here and there, they've lost too much already to stop that bleeding right now, but 2 picks from Blizz, they might have a small opportunity to get back onto this point and potentially touch it, but we're going to have to wait a moment to find out as Thunda is taken out, and I think if you're Good Boys, I think you're holding off, and I think Afterlife is going to take over point A pretty quickly, but Salty is going to try to touch, but with the anti, they're just going to get forced down immediately, and there's the cap.
Yeah, I don't know if I really agree with that play. And actually, Rhino falls too, so a trade of Winston's for both teams. No!
No!
Was he booped by Noctis?
Yes, he got bashed away by Noctis as soon as he copied the Brig. Oh no.
Oh, that is something that you do not want to see. But that is certainly going to be on Noctis's highlight reel of Brigitte plays right there. And good boys trying to force an engagement here, right here, though. They've got the Tracer Pulse Bomb if need be, and they're going to stick it.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it's sucked right onto Mitsu right now, but it's lethal. The fight 2K in the backline, both support's gone. Desperately needed for them as Thunder trying to stay alive to the best of their ability. They're going to have to grab that mini to stay alive, but Thunder is the last man standing right now, and if I'm Thunder, I might just want to take this L here, get out of here. The health pack is taken away from them. They're trying really hard to survive, but in the end, they're just staggering themselves out a little bit.
Yeah, I really do agree with you there. If I'm Thunder, I might as well just try and dive into the backline, try and pick up a kill, take something with me on the way out, and, you know, just call it a day at that. But trying to wait a little bit too long, and Zera, getting a stick onto the Brig shield, though, so not going to be on the body of Brigitte, so not going to be able to kill her right there. And Salty going in there. Biz got that nano, and he's taking names.
Yep, that is a successful dive right there. Lethal half right now. Biz wants to take the fight, but Biz was not ready for any of Lethal right now, as it's Salty in the backline with the Primal Rage right there. They are finding the necessary picks, and Salty is going to be able to help him out to do so. I hope he makes this jump. It just about does, so yeah. Afterlife still, though, they have 3.5 minutes in that time bank. They're still going to have the copy. It's still going to be a very tough hold for Good Boys.
I think I knew of that jump that Salty did, but I just like forgot about it until right now. I was like, wait, where's he going? I was like, he's just gonna die, but Thunder and Zera finding themselves off to the side. Only one of them has a pulse bomb available, and Thunder I don't think wants to use it on Zera, wants to use it on some more high priority targets such as the support line of Afterlife, and he's eyeing them. He wants him dead, and the pulse bomb's gonna miss.
It's going to miss, and they have to use the recall just to get out of there. The rally, though, comes online right now. They're just going to have to engage with it, hold on to this point to the best of their ability right now. Good Boys, they have nothing at that time B right now. Biz was getting kind of close to the ultimate, but right now, it's just the rest of that team beginning to fall apart. They're going to have to get out or stall on that point right now, but we're having a similar scenario where they're dying one by one up top, and honestly, in that situation, you need to try to die on that point, so at least stall off for a couple seconds and prevent this snowball from happening.
And a snowball it is, and Thunder just going too close to the enemy team, just not realizing, hey, I'm gonna die if I stay here any longer. But Rhino, you know, he's playing that same game, but he's got a little bit more health than a Tracer does. So we see Zera hitting a nice pick onto Noctis right there, and Afterlife, they are playing literally at the spawn doors of Good Boys, and Good Boys are just stuck.
Exactly, and this is the quick reminder that Afterlife has completed the map both times they have played it so far, so they are no strangers to getting this point in the map right now. As the biggest thing right now is we're looking at that nano coming in from Pascal, but we are going to see the double Ana coming out now. It's a big sleep that is going to manage to bring down Rhino just for the moment, but it's Pascal who's going to be dying first, so there is no nano for Salty right now. So Salty's job is to get that nano from Biz. It's going to end up hitting onto Noctis instead though right now, but it's still preventing them from touching this point. They do have to back up, do a very quick regroup, and Thunder needs to find a good pulse here, and they definitely find it with Fix being taken out right there. That means no nano gonna be ready for Rhino, but oh no, Thunder taken out by Zera right now, as it's Salty gonna have to use the Primal Rage just to stay alive in the engagement, but they are gonna find Meetzer, and that's probably gonna be enough for them to start taking this back over. Afterlife having the backup, and slowly Good Boys are trying to whittle away at that time bank.
And we look over at the side of Good Boys, and Biz no longer on the Echo, but on the Hanzo this time around, wanting to show off his Shimada prowess in that regard. Only better would be if he playing Genji, but we'll have to see if we see some of that later in the series between these two teams. But Afterlife having a nice bit of ultimates to their name, and the nano going to be popped.
Yeah, both nanos. In fact, Salty is given to it. Meanwhile, on the other side, Zera is the one who's going to go in for it right now. They managed to find Thunder early in the fight, but Thunder is going to be able to get back pretty quickly into this engagement. It's just down to the rest of Good Boys to stay alive, especially Salty right now. He's getting dangerously low. They're trying to target, and that is not who they needed to lose right there, as the rest of Good Boys are going to slowly begin to fall apart here if they don't do a big regroup here right now. They're having a tough time. Biz manages to find Winter right now. Thunder, though, again dropping right now. Biz is going to get forced out. Only one member left to touch his point, but Salty barely managing to get the last second contestment. Meetzer is the one to drop right now. It's just down to Salty to keep the touches right now. It's Thunder who manages to barely get the last touch in time, but they're going to get pushed off the point. And Afterlife, in a very scrappy last fight, manages to complete Numbani with a minute 34 in the time bank.
Yeah, but keep in mind, that was at 4 minutes. So a good job out of Good Boys being able to take what was a massive, snowball that Afterlife was forming going into the set, like into this third point, and stop it a little bit, pump the brakes on their advance, made some changes to their composition, and it ended up working out for a little while. Obviously, Afterlife still secured it, but Good Boys have the opportunity to get an even better time, and they are wishing that they can do that because, hey, if they could get a better time, it means they got past the first point. So they only have a limited amount of time with that, and Afterlife looking to move off of this map, go into that third one relatively quickly.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to really get too many spots. Good Boys, I think this comes from exactly the same. This is what they've been practicing. They don't really have the opportunity to switch off because, fortunately and unfortunately, this is the optimal comp for Numbani, so switching off of it is honestly more devastating than anything else.
Devastating it is. An Afterlife and Good Boys going to be running a mirror composition to one another, both of them sticking with the Echo, and we're going to see a Tracer 1v1 as well. Who will win? Place your bets now. I cannot guarantee I'll give you your money back if you win. So Good Boys looking to try and get something going. All it takes is one pick on this first point of Numbani. They got 4 minutes to do it. Looking for a good nade out of Pascal, looking for a good pick out of Thunder. So many different ways you can go about it, but they don't really care what way they do it, just that it gets done.
Exactly, and like I said, it's going to be the game of chicken. They're going to go for this dive kind of early right now, not finding anybody. Afterlife doing a really good job of sticking together, keeping each other up, so now they're just have to reset for this next dive coming up right now. It's Zera who's going to go on the offense there for a moment, but is going to be able to pull out in time as Salty, looking for that next dive setup right now. They're going to move to point instead right now. They are going to get Nancy. Salty kind of pushing themselves into the corner right there, nearly going down right now, as they did manage to force the tick over right now. They have 1 down, 2 to go, as Pascal getting very close to that Nana right now, closing on 90% fix, not quite anywhere there yet right now. And Salty is going to find Meetzer, but the picks on the enemy side, they're going to prevent this dive from happening right now. The rest of the Good Boys has to get out of here, has to reset, as they have to wait for Salty to come back.
It was a good pick that they got, but when you said it yourself, whenever Salty goes down, unless you are just overwhelmingly winning in the numbers advantage, it makes it so hard to continue the dive without your tank. And Salty just going to dive back onto the point, and it's just going to promptly die to the pulse bomb.
That's really unfortunate. They couldn't get healed due to the anti that hit them. And now, once again, like I said, they just have to reset. And right now, Afterlife's doing a really good job prioritizing Salty. Whenever Salty dives in, he dies. That is their goal.
Yeah, and this is the issue that I see a lot of teams having whenever they play Numbani, whenever they play this dive, is they don't empower their Winston enough, but Biz doing it all the work himself.
Yeah, they're going to send the Nano onto Biz this time, the right call. Rhino gets woken up after getting slept out of the promo right there, but it's Salty finding fix immediately afterwards. They have to be able to hammer this down and take this over. They have the advantage right now. They need to start capping this point right now. Rhino is trying to get out right now. You look, they're trying to find the recontestment. They're going to find it last second. Rhino needs to be taken out if they're going to have any hope of taking over this point right now. Biz going to throw down the pulse. Not finding anything as they're going to revert back to the Echo right now. Nice trade right there. It's going to be a good trade for Good Boys right now, but it's Salty that has to stay alive. Noctis getting desperately close. They need to heal Salty, but they're going to be just late to the heal, and now Noctis just has to get out as Good Boys getting that to 91%, but Pod, you need that full 100 to move on.
Yeah, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and especially not in Overwatch. Good Boys only have 1 ultimate to their name, swapping up their composition though. Thunder not on the Tracer anymore, but over to the Hanzo. And Noctis, I was a little bit confused. Oh, the stick almost going to hit, but doesn't get it. I was a little bit confused as like why he went to that upper path to try and heal, but Salty getting incredibly low. The rally going to be forced.
Yeah, they're gonna have to force that right now. Pascal getting close to that Nano once again right now, but it's gonna be hard for them to get it in this fight round. Salty is gonna take a bit of a nap right now, and they're gonna die directly afterwards. And Good Boys, they just cannot get through the defense that is Afterlife. They're doing a great job managing to get rid of Salty and kind of force the supports into these very awkward situations. And now Good Boys are coming on to this final fight territory, and they only have 2 ultimates that are going to be coming online.
It might be the ultimates that they need, though. A Nano Boost is probably one of the best ultimates you could ask for going into a final fight situation, just because of how much you can do with it, depending on if you Nano Biz, if you Nano Salty, even if you Nano Noctis, who a Nano Brigitte is still pretty scary, but Afterlife definitely have more resources to their name. They got a touch. They got 5 seconds to do so. I imagine Salty's going to be the one to try and touch for the team. No, it's actually going to be Thunder who touches, but a nice sleep onto the Nano Monkey.
No, but they get woke up directly afterwards. Salty should be able to get this Primal Rage in time. Biz are going to have the copy as well. They have the ults to do so, but it's not just being taken out early. Only Pascal left to support all of the heals right now, as the double monkey is happening right now, as they're going to try to take over this point to the best of their ability. They need to force who's left off this point right now, but it's too overwhelming. The Nano thrown onto lethal, and now it's just a cleanup game, as there's nobody left standing for Good Boys and Afterlife with a nice hold here, as they're going to take Numbani and tie up the series.
Oh my goodness. Name a bigger rivalry. Good Boys versus Numbani first point. Which one? I don't see one that is greater than all of that, but such a great sleep onto Salty there, who had a very good look, you know, diving into the back line of Afterlife, but just wasn't able to get any type of kills off of it, ultimately leading to his team's demise. And Good Boys, I mean, you had so many good looks. You got it to, what was it, 91%? I mean, they had it, but just obviously falling short a little bit. And if I am all the other teams in Contenders and I continue to see this, and you know, for whatever reason I lose to Good Boys in the first map, whatever like control point it might be, I'm picking Numbani 100 times out of 100 because they just weren't able to break through.
Exactly. This is now the 3rd time that they have lost this map, and the 3rd time that they have been full held on this map. And I think the biggest difference right there was between the supports and the tracers. As you saw a lot of that time, you saw Zera go in the back, and could you count how many pulses they hit on that back line in every other fight? Meanwhile, I think Thunder was having a slightly tougher time not only taking the 1v1, but managing to find either Meetzer or Fix in the back line. And that's the biggest difference in this comp. That is what's so important. And if you can't succeed in that, then that's what results in this full hold.
Yeah, and I think, you know, towards the end, you realized, you know, Tracer's not it. I need to switch to something else. And Thunder had swapped over to the Hanzo, but it was too little too late. I mean, you cannot swap to a new hero with 45 seconds remaining and really expect to make such a grand difference to your team. Maybe if it was a minute and a half, maybe you can build up an ultimate, you know, make some type of play with that, but it's just very hard to get it going. And Good Boys, I mean, this is something that you've really got to hammer out. You really got to scrimmage more. You got to go back to the drawing board because something's not working. I mean, it would be different if it would happen once or maybe even happen twice. But this is the 3rd time in a row, just like you said, that they've been not just lose Numbani, but full held on the first point. This is their kryptonite for hybrid maps.
Exactly. And as you said, every team is just going to pick this against them. Good Boys may be good at that first control, but again, you're going to pick that every single time. You know you can beat them on it. But we are moving away from this dive style now, as our next map we'll be coming up to is Circuit Royale. And on Circuit Royale, we're going to see a couple of swaps coming through here. Mainly going to be seeing them from Afterlife, as we're going to see Iron and Haven are going to get subbed in for Rhino and Zera. So they're moving away from that Winston, that Tracer. This is likely going to be the swap over to a Ramatra and a Sigma instead. And if there's anything to say from Good Boys' perspective on this map, we're kind of changing the perspective around a little bit. This is the map that is very good for Good Boys, a map that they have not lost on yet. They've been very successful here. Typically, they will run QWQ here on the Sigma. I'm thinking that's what we're going to do. Even though we don't have the official confirmation, I'd be willing to bet a small chunk of chains that that is going to be the case.
And just like my bets earlier, no guarantee you'll get your money back. So how bold of a guarantee, how bold of a bet is it going to be? But no, yeah, you are exactly right. Going to be switching up the play styles of these teams a little bit, because I mean, you can run dive on Circuit Royale. I do, like the Sigma pick, because there is, especially on that first point and second point, there's a lot of open space that you can have as Sigma. You can throw your barriers up. You can hold a lot of different angles. You'd be able to use that accretion onto people, really catch them off guard. Or maybe you just, stick to the tried and true Ramatra with that Brawl. Annihilation, one of the best ultimates in the entire game, if you ask me. It was even better before they nerfed it into the ground. Part of me kind of misses that, being able to have infinite annihilation, but I understand why they nerfed that so long ago. But I do like having availability and diversity on a map where you're not just held to one type of play style. So maybe we'll see that Hanzo that we were seeing for Good Boys. Maybe we'll see some players even pick something like an Ashe, who with these long sight lines is so effective. Bob, so effective, to just stall the cart out if you have nobody else available to you, because Sigma, he doesn't have as much health as most tanks in the game, but he can definitely be enough for certain team fights. But I'm looking for Good Boys to shake off the Numbani fears. I mean, you are no longer on Numbani. You can let out a sigh of relief and head to Circuit Royale.
Yeah, and what we saw from Circuit Royale, the last couple times that we've seen them, the biggest thing that we saw is that Hanzo and Widow matchup. Thunder was usually on the Widow, Biz was on that Hanzo, and they did a really good job working together. And I'm really curious to see how well they do here once again. And as I bet, because I'm a bad betting man, QWQ is coming in to play that Sigma as well. Pascal Noskal going to be running that Baptiste Zenyatta lineup, as they're going to be starting up on the defense. And Afterlife, very similar look. I don't think Lethal is going to stay on the Genji. I imagine Lethal is going to head back over to that Hanzo potentially, as I think we're likely to see this mirror matchup.
I would not be surprised if we did see Haven, stay on the Widowmaker for a little bit, try and get a cheeky little headshot off the start, maybe onto Thunder or Biz, who are also playing snipers themselves. So would not be completely far-fetched to try and have those 1v1s. And, whenever you're playing at such a high level, I'm always just, taken back by Widowmakers, because I am awful at Widowmaker. So whenever I see a good Widowmaker, it just makes me so impressed, because I'm like, how do you do that? How are you so good at this game? It's crazy.
Lethal's trying to go up and around right now. Yep, he's going to go up and around right now. Going to stick onto the Genji. Wasn't honestly expecting that, as right now, Good Boys, they are going to give this first corner for now, but I guess you don't really need a Widowmaker when you have Vix on your team. Managing to get rid of Thunder very early, and that's going to force Good Boys to start backing up further across this corner right now, as they don't want to take this fight if they don't have Thunder ready to go.
I actually meant that Afterlife had two snipers as well, Haven and Fix, apparently, who, hit those orbs from downtown, and Zenyatta does a deceptive amount of damage if you are not careful. A nice little headshot will immediately take half of your health. And we see both Sigmas playing right in front of each other. The Immortality field going to have to buy some extra time, and QWQ going to have to retreat back to his team.
Yep, and Haven looking for that pick right now. They know exactly where Thunder's at right now. That 1v1 likely going to be taking place here in a moment, as right now it's them trying to find that first pick. That's exactly the first pick you wanted, as well, as Iron is going to be taken out first. That should cause the rest of Afterlife to fall apart. Be forced to back up right now, as Thunder finds the body shot, but they need to find that headshot, and Biz manages to find the follow-up right now, with Lethal is kind of having a little campfire in the background right now, kind of waiting for the rest of the team to start engaging.
He's going on a field trip, man. Leave him alone. He's just he's having fun all by himself, and he's very lucky that Good Boys don't send like two people to just go, send out a hitman to try and kill him. But we actually see him on the cart. He's actually pushing the cart at least a little bit. It doesn't get a lot of distance, but does make it back to his team in the window. Then we force out a Noctis, and Biz make sure to get that kill on the Mead.
Yeah, and this fight is over just the moment it started as well. Lethal tried to play in that background, or that back line. It was a good call right there, but it's Biz who comes through in these last couple of cleanups. A really good job putting out the amplification matrix, and Good Boys, for that time bank has been taken away from Afterlife, and they're doing a really good job holding right now, and a lot of ultimates are about to come online from both sides.
Yeah, my eyes are going to be on Biz's Dragons as well as QWQ's ultimate. And Thunder just getting grapple headshotted by Haven. And this is the time Afterlife need to press their advantage. They need to go here for the Dragon Strike.
Yeah, Dragon Strike is going to force out, I believe it might have forced out the Immortality Field right now. Lethal gets taken out eventually, the finish coming through from QWQ. And they're going to pull that corner for the moment being right now. You know that Haven wants to try and find a headshot as they're still going to briefly engage, and Sigma's going to go in for it. They're going to force out the Transcendence. That is a big for them to get out right now, but Afterlife still has the rest of their ultimates online. They're going to use the sights as well. A nice headshot on there on the QWQ, as right now Haven trying to find a killing headshot. They're looking for that one-shot kill right now, but not able to find that as long as QWQ shield is in the array right now. This time, you're going to see it come in through Iron, trying to find something. And just like before, they're going to force out the Transcendence. And now Lethal has that free blade ready to go. They're going to go after Biz first right now. The Immortality Field is going to keep them alive briefly right now, but it's not going to be enough to do so, as Lethal's found two right now, getting the cleanup from Iron. And that blade is more than enough for them to force their way through.
That one is one for the highlight reel, Mr. Lethal. Such a good use of the blade right there. Just being able to pick up the kill onto Biz. You know, part of me was like scared a little bit because whenever you see, you know, any type of assassin character diving in onto a Hanzo, whether it's Genji or Tracer or whoever it may be, there's always the possibility that Hanzo just headshots them and completely ends the engagement right there. But speaking of headshots, Thunder getting a nice headshot on the meat, and it's not over yet.
I'd say it's as quick as they decided to engage. 3 members gone already. And now Good Boys, they're going to push up to this little, partially to this corner right here, but mainly this high ground, going to prevent Afterlife from taking any of these pot shots and potentially getting an early pick.
Yeah, Afterlife, their ultimate economies are looking pretty scarce. Not looking very good. Thunder with a nice little off angle right here. Don't know if anyone's really going to expect that one, but a window going to be used out of Good Boys, and I think Afterlife just going to wait it out a little bit, but Fix says, no, I'm going to kill Pascal, and Afterlife, Haven wants to continue going here, doesn't find the headshot there, but it is a numbers advantage all the same. Lethal getting 2. Oh my.
Again, these fights aren't even really fights. It's just a collection of multiple picks coming out right now, as Good Boys are going to have to try to force a regroup really quick. Keeping QWQ up is your biggest priority right now, as they're going to have to pull back a little bit for a moment to stay alive. They are going to have the Dragons to send through at any moment. Iron and QWQ are both coming up to their ultimates around the same time right now, but Iron, you know they want to get it online first. The Dragon is going to force them out. Going to force them all out onto one side, but not finding any picks right now. But it is going to be Meadster, who's eventually going to get a headshot by Thunder. Getting a little bit of revenge right there. It's still a tie game right now as QWQ's taken out. That is the last person that you want to lose in that situation, especially when they have the ult ready to go, and it's Haven who's winning the 1v1. And Afterlife's going to cap with 2.5 minutes to the name and a heck of a lot of ultimates too.
Oh, I don't know if you saw it, Hunter Tane, but Thunder had just popped the ultimate, and it was immediately headshot by Haven, so got 0 use out of those infra sights, and that is a tilter if I have ever seen one. And now Afterlife got a little over 2 minutes to their name, so not the most time in the world, but better than like 30 seconds, and right now we see Lethal was almost trying to force Biz off of that high ground, but QWQ just going to get ran down there.
Yeah, QWQ decided to go through the room instead of properly backing up, which really ended up costing them, and now it's the rest of Good Boys that kind of have to stick together, try to play together, but they're just going to push up on this. There's nothing stopping them from pushing up right now. Thunder is going to find that pick on the Fix right now, so there is no Transcendence waiting for them. But still, this is still in the favor of Afterlife. They still have that blade ready to go, and it's going to come down to Pascal to be able to try to stop it with that Transcendence ready to go, as Good Boys are being pushed up against their spawn right now. They need to find the opening pick here. QWQ doing their best to stay alive, playing a little aggressively right now, as they're going to force them to back away, back into this room on the right side. You're seeing both supports up on that top left looking for a pick right now. Lethal is looking for that blade right now, but you know they're trying to force out the Transcendence first. If that Transcendence comes down as Lethal goes for it, they aren't going to find any value out of it. So right now, It's likely going to be down to Iron with this ultimate to try to force it out here, as they're going to try to dive in on Biz, not quite finding them. You see they went over to that Tracer a little early ago, already at 60% of that ult, and Pascal down. You're going to see that blade come out from Lethal very quickly right now. The Transcendence falling right now. Thunder not able to stay alive. It's the rest of Good Boys falling piece by piece. Pascal's going to use that Transcendence right out of spawn likely, and I think they're just not even going to try, as this time Good Boys are not going to be able to commit to the hold. Afterlife going to finish with 43 seconds in the time bank.
You don't even need to use the blade if everything else gets the job done. Lethal holding on to it just in case he needed it, maybe saving it for this round. I don't think he knows that ultimates don't transfer over rounds, but maybe someone on his team will tell him. And Good Boys, they are back, you know, sort of in a similar position as they were on Numbani. You know, your opponents pushed the entire way all the way to 3 points with some time remaining, so it wasn't like they were forced into overtime. Granted, there's no first point that they have to secure as far as a hybrid goes. This is purely an escort, so they will be able to get some type of push percentage for themselves, and hopefully they can push all the way themselves and get to those 3 points and force us into extra rounds. But QWQ going to be sticking on this Sigma. The composition is going to be looking very similar to what they were in the first half. And even though they're on defense, Lethal going to be sticking to the Genji.
Yeah, Lethal's been very confident on the Genji just far. We kind of questioned it during the first couple of minutes of what it was going to be able to accomplish. They were just in the backline a lot of the time, not able to find picks. But the moment they had that momentum going, Good Boys just kept letting the fight snowball, and Lethal was able to find a ton of value as, we're going to see them swap over to the Widow instead. No more Genji time here. Maybe we'll see it in a little bit. But for now, we are going to see the bit of a matchup as Thunder's on the Sojourn? Question mark?
No, I'm a fan of it. If you can make it work, then it can really, you know, throw a wrench into your opponent, because it's like, oh, well, we weren't really expecting this, and if you don't know what you're doing, how do you know what the enemy knows what you're doing? I said that right. Biz getting pretty low here. Does get healed up, but does look like Good Boys already taking this space right here, not even having to win any type of fights.
Yeah, well, Lethal is going to have a lot better of a sightline once they come around this first corner. And I'm concerned a little bit on the Thunder pick right now is there is no counter for Lethal except for Biz. And Lethal has found the 2K already! Both supports, or both DPS, dead instantly. And the rest of Good Boys just have to back out. Is once again, I'm going to call quickly into question this Sojourn pick, as I think they really need to go to the Widowmaker, which they will end up doing.
Yeah, so a little bit of a missed opportunity there. I would have loved to see, you know, a few good railgun headshots there, maybe to try and get something going, but Lethal on the Widowmaker already so far ahead in the ultimate. I mean, 70% to 28%. That is, you know, the drawback of going the Sojourn first, because if it doesn't pay off, you are going to be behind in the ultimate charge for the rest of your existence. And right now, Good Boys just trying to, you know, get past this corner. Got 2.5 minutes to do it, and no ultimates really anywhere close, except for maybe Noctis's window and Pascal's ultimate. But as far as offensive ultimates, they don't really have many options.
Yeah, that's the only thing you give them right now, is that Good Boys do have the better percentage on the support ultimates. Noctis very likely to put this this down as soon as they turn around this corner. They want to try to use it early, try to force the rest of Afterlife out of position here, as they're going to try to push in right now. It's going to be a little forward, but that's going to be perfectly fine, as they're just going to try to spam through it. Good job taking over the space right now. That's what they need to do. Lethal is kind of taking that 1v1, but it's Pascal who's going to find Haven instead. It's the Zenyatta's that really shine on this first point for some reason, as Good Boys have to try to push this in all the way. You can see Lethal going for that little spot, little cheeky spot over on the side. Pascal is going to hold on to the Transcendence, so they're going to pop it directly after instead right now, as they're going to attempt to run through Iron. Fix is going to use the Transcendence just a moment too late, and unfortunately Iron is going to drop just before they do right now. And that should cause the rest of this team to fall apart. But who am I to speak right now when the rest of Afterlife is putting in the work right now? But it's 2WQ finding the last 2 picks that eventually is going to win them that first point. But that was a very close fight, Todd.
I think it was very risky, because whoever wins that fight, I think, just ultimately wins that point. If Afterlife are able to win that fight, I think they are just able to hold for the rest of the time, or at least force Good Boys into an overtime situation. And Good Boys, just QWQ, able to pick up those nice kills to send us to this. Oh, He's getting incredibly low right there, almost falling. These Zenyatas, man, I'm telling you, they do a deceptive amount of damage if you're not careful.
Exactly right now, but the big thing to look at right now is look at the Afterlife ultimates, but look over at Good Boys, who are about to have 4 online. They control their destiny right now. If they can make these work right now, they might be able to take the second point without much of an interruption, as they're going to send out both of the DPS ultimates. Iron is going to be the one to drop early. That's, again, the last person they need to lose this early in the fight. Thunder going to find Meadzer, as I think this is, again, just going to be a quick snowball right now. Lethal trying to stay alive, trying to send out the submachine gun, but it's not going to find anything as the rest of Afterlife trying to get out. It's just fixed. They're not going to do it, as right now, Good Boys, with over 4 minutes in the time bank right now, they are turning this thing around.
Absolutely zero contest on the second point, just running through Afterlife right there. And now Afterlife, they're very close to losing this third point with a lot of time remaining, because keep in mind, if you lose 1 or 2 fights on this point, Good Boys are going to have 2.5 minutes going into this second round, and Pascal getting very close to dying there, but Lethal not able to pick up the kill. And Lethal, got to be careful with this Genji. You could dive in and it could cost your team the round. Yeah. And QWQ.
And that's a big lift, and there's a lot of low members right now, but they're not going to be able to find the follow-up on any of them right now, so that ultimate's going to be out. As Good Boys aren't really going to have anything left, but on the other side, Iron has this ultimate ready to go. Fix does have the Transcendence in case things get a little bit risky. That's the first pick. Thunder managing to find Haven. That's your sniper taken out of the game right now, as Afterlife are likely going to expend an ultimate or 2 here as soon as they start pushing through right now. We are going to see that window come through for us right now. Iron dropping desperately low as Lethal just trying to find some kind of opening in the backline. Nearly gets rocked out of existence, but barely manages to survive as Haven. They're going to have the Dragon online ready to go. They're looking for something, but they might not need it, as Biz is going to be taken out right now. Good Boys going to lose a lot of their DPS, a lot of their tank busting ability with that, and Good Boys are just going to have to back out for the time being while they wait for Biz.
Yeah, you don't want to go too far in and then stagger yourself even more. Afterlife, though, look at the ultimates that they have to their name. Haven's Dragons, Lethal's coming up on his Dragons, Iron with that Flux, and then Fix with the Transcendence. Mead, he's the only one who's not invited to the ultimate party, but he can still, you know, watch from the sidelines. And Good Boys.
Run to Fix, no! Fix is taken out earlier right now. Thunder needs to find all these picks now. They're gonna hide away from that sight line right now. As Lethal getting extremely low, they're gonna be taken down. Iron is gonna manage to get rid of the Immortality Field right now. But you need to get rid of more of the Immortality Field right now, as the rest of Afterlife is being picked off one by one. Haven getting low. Fix is the only person that's going to be able to touch here, and they're going to have to use the Transcendence to do so. But the moment that Fix comes out of that Transcendence, they're going to drop down, as they're going to drop over to the Kiriko instead. Meadzer is going to try to find something. Biz is not going to be found with that Transcendence, though, as this fight is going to be evening out right now. As Good Boys, they need to try to nail this down, but with Lethal holding down the fort right now, it's difficult to say if they're going to right now, but Iron decided to go over on the Doomfist. They wanted to get back quicker, and that might end up being a very costly decision, as there's no shield to keep them up, and it's Good Boys with just Fix left on the point, and it's Good Boys who are going to cap with more than a minute, and now they're going to go with almost 2 minutes going into this next attack.
I mean, what did I say? If you're not careful, Good Boys are going to cap with about 2 minutes. And now you are only at 1 minute. So with escorts, it is very, you know, tricky, because sometimes you get a team that has, you know, let's say the minimum amount you are allowed to have, which is 1 minute. You are all like, even if you're pushed into overtime, you are the minimum you're allowed to get if it goes into extra rounds is 1 minute. Sometimes they could just go on a spree and push all the way to the second point, or maybe even to the third point, and, you know, just by staggering your opponent just running in there, trying to make stuff work, trying to get you off of it, and just ultimately dying one-on-one. Or you can just be held entirely within the first few meters. Good Boys hoping to hold Afterlife to just that. They have the time advantage, so they know that whenever they are on the offensive, they can play a little bit slower. They don't have to push down the gas immediately if they want to switch something up or make some changes. And Afterlife, gotta work with what you got.
Exactly. You're going to see Lethal potentially not making the same mistake twice. They're going to start out on the Genji again. You see, they did not start it over there on the defense, and they had a tough time. They tried to swap it near the end, but it wasn't quite able to do enough. So now they're going to try to make it work. Likely going to commit the same exact strategy, because, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it, you know. So they're going to send through. Good Boys likely going to give up this first corner kind of quickly as Lethal's in the background already. Is that him back there? Yeah, he was in there for a moment. Got his way out of there quickly as they're just going to keep the spam going right now. Thunder going to go up looking for the pick, finding the body shot, but nothing that's going to be able to take anybody out right now. They're going to try to... Oh, no. Fix has done it again. 2 attacks in a row. Fix finds that first pick onto Thunder as the rest of the Good Boys just has to make their way out of there right now as QWQ getting pretty low right now. Noctis doing a good job keeping them up, though, as they should be able to reset for this next fight with all 5 members ready to go.
Yeah, Pascal had fallen to the deflect of Lethal there, so the Zenyatta orbs paying the consequence back. But now Good Boys, they are here. Noctis at 60% to that window, so maybe he can build it up here to have the difference in these teams. But Lethal very close to that blade as well. Overtime is ticking down. So Afterlife, the clock has started. If you step off of that cart for too long, it is going to be your demise. But QWQ and company holding down right here, and the window goes.
Yep, there it goes. Noctis going to have it online first. Metrix is getting close to her right now, but Noctis getting desperately on the back line, very low. They have to get the last second touch on this point. You see Thunder over on that Tracer now. They get one tap, though, out of existence right now, as it's all tied up right now. QWQ has to push through this window. They have to try to take out Fix. They're successful in doing so. They're likely going to die in a moment because of that, as the blade is going to come out. It is completely down to Lethal right now. Who gets one? They're looking for the second pick right now, trying to find the cleanup. Both supports that are going to be able to shut it down. Pascal getting the last couple of final blows as Good Boys are going to stop them just before the first checkpoint.
Yeah, I was really hoping that Good Boys were able to hold that, because I saw the ultimate banks that they had of members who had died. For example, QWQ, I kid you not, was at 99% on that flux. So you said it. He had to push past that window or just be absolutely obliterated by the fire being shot through it. So that made him in a very bad position for the rest of the fight. And Lethal almost able to clutch it up there, but just getting outranged by Noctis. And I forget who the other member was there.
It was
but
Pascal.
Okay.
Holding down the fort.
Yeah, holding down the line, Pascal on this Zenyatta. Both Zenyatas have been having such a great game, both offensively and defensively. But now Good Boys are in a position to take a 2-1 lead in this series. They have nearly double the amount of time that Afterlife had, so they do not have to worry about being rushed and making hasty decisions. They can play it a little bit slower if they want to.
Exactly. Here's Lethal. Same as the last defense. They're going to start out on the Widowmaker instead. I think they've come to the conclusion that perhaps they're not going to be able to have the same efficiency. I imagine Afterlife is going to let Good Boys come through, because it's going to be really hard to engage in a second fight if you lose in that first corner. So I believe they're going to let it open up a little bit. They're going to try to take that 1v1 with Lethal against Thunder. And right now, that's who they're putting their faith in right now, is Lethal.
Yeah, Lethal not on that Genji, on the Widowmaker. So we've seen Zenyatta's hit some nasty shots on this little corner against the Widowmaker. Lethal does not want to be the next Reddit clip that he sees. So Good Boys pushing this cart slowly but surely, not wanting to put 3 members, trying to make some space. And just look at these, all the different off angles that they are holding. Biz trying to find some type of headshot onto Haven. Oh, and he gets it!
There it is! Biz with the headshot. That's the opening they needed right now. But Pascal's go down directly after. Lethal finding a little bit of revenge, and it's Good Boys. They have to hold on here for as long as they can right now. They have to start pushing through if they want to have any hope of securing this win here on Circuit Royale. They're doing a good job of keeping this pushing right now, managing to keep Iron off the point for the time being. They have it just 10 meters away at the moment, getting closer and closer. And now Iron is going to have to stay on this point 24/7 just to make sure that it's going to stay in place right now. As you can see Lethal back and ready to go, Haven as well. The rest of the strength of Afterlife here to stay right now as Good Boys. Again, they have to find this opening pick. They have to repeat that magic twice more, as there's 3 meters away from potentially taking this map. But it's Pascal team taken down first. That's not who they wanted to lose in that fight. The Immortality Field being forced out right now, but Thunder manages to find Fix. That's going to tie things up right now. And remember, the way the spawns are right now, Good Boys is going to come back to full strength. This Fix is going to have to take a pretty long time to get back into this, so Good Boys need to push it. Noctis is going to send out the Amplification Matrix, trying to bust down the wall right now. 1.5 meters left to go right now. It's just Iron trying to hold on this point, getting very close to the flux right now. QWQ, not quite there yet, as they're to send it out. Iron is getting low. The immortality field is going to get forced out. Iron, though, is getting low. The Dragons is ready to go. Biz is going to force it out right onto the sleeping Iron right now. And nobody else is going to be able to touch as Good Boys manage to take Circuit Royale.
The Dragons is just enough to push Good Boys over the edge. And what a, the combination of the accretion into the Dragons is not able to keep up with it. And that's the problem when you only have one of your members on the point, because as soon as they die, it all goes downhill. And whenever you are that close, you're literally within 1.5 meters. You have to have another person on that point. You cannot only rely on your Sigma of all tanks to be on that point. It's different if it's something, maybe like a Reinhardt or something that has a bigger health pool, maybe even a D.Va for that matter. But when it's Sigma, who has 0 mobility to his name, has a shield that only has 700 health, and he's got the what's his the little black hole vortex called, whatever it's called, I think, yeah, like the void grasp or whatever it is.
Mr. Grasper. That's what we'll call it.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one. That's exactly what I was thinking about. But
that's the canonical name.
Yeah. as far as that, those are the only ones he has to try and sustain himself. Yeah. I mean, you can do a lot with that, but whenever you just get dove by so many people, you get stunned up, and then you have dragons just raining down damage from across the map. It makes it so hard to exist, and the only places he can go are straight back into the Dragons or straight forward into the rest of Good Boys. And Good Boys knew that. They played their cards right, and they had a very good defense on that first point going into those extra rounds, so obviously paid off for them.
Exactly. I don't know if you noticed during that Dragons, unfortunately, it was Iron who got rocked directly into the Dragons. They couldn't even get out of it if they tried. They didn't have the Transcendence ready to go. It's kind of just a situation where it's a little unlucky. You don't have your shield ready to get you, or ready to keep you up, and unfortunately, nobody else is ready to touch. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending how you view it, we're moving away from Poke very likely, as our next map coming up is going to be Esperanza. And you're going to see some of the usuals come back online for Afterlife. You're going to see Zera and Rhino come back in over Haven and Iron, so they're likely going back to potentially this Winston Tracer comp. It's very popular on Esperanza. It's a very good map for the dive. You could run the brawl if you wanted to, and both teams are decently comfortable. But I think definitely dive is the optimal comp to run on this map.
Yeah, and push is one of those maps where it can go either way. Because sometimes whenever I watch push, it's like, okay, the teams go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Very rarely do we see one team just outright trump the other one as far as percentage. Very rarely does it end like 120 meters to 14 or just whatever small number you want to think of. So this is where I'm looking for Afterlife to try and make a statement back. Really put all of your eggs in the offensive basket if you can, because with dive you cannot really afford to play passive. You cannot afford to sit back and let Good Boys determine when you fight, where you fight, how you fight. You need to be the ones in the driver's seat if you want to force us into a map 5.
Exactly, and a lot of these dive comps, or a lot of comps in general in Overwatch, the team that strikes first is more likely to win that situation. And we saw, I think Afterlife especially, we look back on that Numbani, they were really good at controlling the pace on that dive, and I think that's what potentially gives them the little bit of the edge here going into this. We saw how good Rhino did on the Winston earlier, and I think they're going in with a little bit of confidence into this map. They have only played it a couple of times, it's been hit or miss, but the big difference though is that thus far, we have not seen Good Boys on Esperanza before. They've only played on Colosseo, so we have no clue what they genuinely prefer on this map.
We are going to see just that, and we are going to see a bit of substitutions. Zera back in for Afterlife, so we'll have to see if that makes some difference going into this game, as well as Salty back in for Good Boys, and Rhino back in for Iron as well. And if we see a Doomfist, I will be very happy, but just going to be a little bit more meta Junker Queen, even though she has sort of, fallen out of the meta just because of, recent nerfs and everything like that. So not as popular as something like a Ramatra if you are running the Brawl. And Good Boys and Afterlife playing two very different compositions.
Yeah, it's potentially a bit of a mystery, kind of on both sides of the equation. These are what they're both very comfortable with. And the biggest thing I'm worried about right now is right now the backline of Good Boys. It's a backline has a lot of mobility, but Zera and Lethal have enough of a dive, enough of a damage output to be able to take somebody out very quickly. And it's going to take that single hack potentially on the Noctis, as we are going to see the first hack come out right now. No real follow-up there for them yet, as right now Lethal is going to get forced out for the time being. Afterlife is the team that's going to have to try to place a little bit faster. Good Boys have a lot more mobility right now, as Afterlife looking for that dive target, but it's very tough, especially when Thunder is going to be sitting on that Reaper in the backline. Make sure nobody's going to have the opportunity to touch Pascal or Noctis if they wanted to. That dive comes through, but Noctis is going to find Zero on the dive right now. That's the first pick they needed to take success win in this fight. Rhino getting desperately low, but they are going to manage to jump over the wall, get out of there for the moment being, as Lethal eventually going to get forced out once again. And Good Boys doing a good job pushing this point right now, as they're going to, Afterlife is going to wait for their full strength to come back.
What I'm looking at, though, is how far Lethal is on that EMP, 66% already. That could be an absolute game changer, but Zera is just going to get ran down by Thunder and the gang, and Salty getting pretty low here, but the bot has been stolen by Rhino. Good Boys cannot push it. He's just trying to run away. Don't hurt him. He's only doing a little bit, and Good Boys able to secure the bot again and start this push, but it did buy Afterlife a little bit more time.
Yeah, a little bit of time right now is Biz is going to get hacked again. Not going to be taken out once more. They're not doing... They haven't set up the dives too well so far. Lethal, though, does have the EMP, and that is the golden ticket for them to be able to stop them from getting this checkpoint right now. As you see Salty dropping down right now, Salty and Biz are going to be in a pretty tough position here in a moment, as the hack is perfectly done. Salty taken out of the fight instantaneously, as the rest of the Good Boys have to make the choice right now whether to commit or not, or back out of there. And they find Biz finds two! Lethal and Zera taken out right now, and they're going to full commit with Pascal throwing in the Coalescence right now. The bot potentially being taken again for a moment, but Rhino is just going to try to stall it out for a little bit longer. They get nanoed into the process, so they're going to find Pascal right now, and you know they're looking for Noctis right now. Noctis getting down to, getting a little low right now, but they're going to force their way out. Thunder trying to force them back to the best of their ability. That hack likely is going to be what takes Noctis out of it right now, and at first, it was Good Boys who pulled back that fight, but it's ultimately Afterlife that get the necessary picks and are going to take this over.
Yeah, the super long extended fight favoring Afterlife there, and Biz is not happy about a core mechanic of Ana's kit. Mothers, hide your children's eyes. This is we did not tell him to say that. We are not affiliated with that language. But Afterlife, you know, able to get some progress on the bot for themselves. Good Boys having two ultimates to their name, though, coming up on a third with Salty's Rampage, and that could make all the difference. I'm looking for Thunder to make a big Death Blossom, but the beat going to be used.
Yeah, they're going to use it kind of prematurely right now. They're going to force Afterlife to get out right now. Oh, but that's a knife right there. It's going to take out Meter. It's going to take out Fix, following directly afterward. Biz finding that headshot. Noctis following directly after right now, as Good Boys is going to make sure to full commit onto this. They want to get Rhino. It's going to be a bit of a trade of the tanks right now. But right now, it is still in favor of Good Boys. And right now, they have that advantage, as they're going to take back this progress and potentially get a little closer to that checkpoint. But looks like they're just going to hold the high ground for the time being.
Yeah, and what is even better is they managed to remember that this is push, and they had to go back and grab the robot, because during that entire fight, the robot was just chilling back there towards Afterlife's barrier. So if someone had, you know, from Afterlife had taken it, might have got some back cap potential, but the EMP available for Lethal. He wants to use it.
Yeah, Salty is going to get found right there. It's too much damage to go through, but Thunder going to find one. But they're eventually taking out the Ana, seeing them. Fix was ready for that, and right now, it's just the last couple members of Good Boys trying to stall at that point a little bit longer, but I don't think there's going to be any survivors. Pascal is going to do the right thing, go back, stall at that point for a second, but ultimately it's Afterlife that's going to win the fight, and they're going to start getting close to this 48 meters.
Good Boys, they have two ultimates to their name right now. Pascal's Coalescence very close. Afterlife coming up on two ultimates with Rhino's Primal less than 15% away. Fix does have that nano, which we've seen what a nano monkey can do, namely a few minutes ago whenever they used it to secure the point, and there it goes.
Yeah, they're going to send the now right there. It's going to get booped away. It is going to be a good boot from Noctis to be able to keep them away. Rhino, though, still has that nano. They're looking for that dive. But it's going to be the break that's going to get on first. Noctis picking up that final blow. And that's going to be more than enough for Good Boys to take this over right now. Afterlife only managing to get that 40%, so it is still going to be in the favor. And unfortunately, right now for Fix, they are going to die very late into this fight.
Yeah, that's a pretty nasty stagger if you are Afterlife. Going to be without your Ana for a little while. And now the robot is actually on the barrier for Good Boys. It's the first time in a while this robot has touched that barrier. So they are going to secure this spawn advantage. And a little bit of a swap out of the composition for Afterlife as Meadzer on the Mercy.
They're trying to invest all the resources into Zero at this point. That's what it's seeming like right now, is they do have the copy ready to go. Very likely that they're going to take either the Junker Queen or the May, perhaps, right now. As Thunder is going to find Rhino. They're going to jump onto the Junker Queen. Are going to find Salty right now. They have to go behind Zera in this fight right now, as they are going to get a couple members very low right now. Noctis does have to beat if they do want to invest and try to hold on to this, and they're going to use that. Oh, it's Sub-Zero! That has to be so tilting, as it's going to keep the rest of Good Boys alive. Biz with a fantastic goal as Rhino came back on that ball, and Noctis is going to be taken out. Biz are going to try to hold down that point for a moment, using the wall to kind of stop Rhino from doing whatever they want to do right now, but it's still in the favor of Afterlife, but they have to get in here and find another pick right now, as they have the EMP. You probably don't want to use it here if you don't have to right now, but you really want to secure this fight, and with Salty being the only one still holding on to that point, Thunder use the ultimate. I was a little confused by that at first right now, but they are going to manage to find one. The EMP falling directly afterwards, but Noctis is not going to be caught in it, and the beat's going to come directly afterwards right now. It's a very back and forth fight, as you're going to see Lethal get forced out. Zera eventually taken out right now, as Afterlife is slowly but surely falling apart. And even after all of that investment, they're going to end up losing this fight.
Losing the fight, and that is so bad. And you know, I didn't wake up this morning, look at my Contenders bingo card, and see middle of the round Wrecking Ball.
Oh, there we go.
And we see they are swapping to a more traditional composition now. And, you know, it's just like, why would you commit all of that only to swap back to it immediately? I don't know, but a Rampage out of Salty.
Yeah, Salty is going to find a couple members, though, despite being booped back right now. Right now, it's Rhino that's trying to hold on the front line. Salty getting very low, getting hacked as well. So they are going to be taking out Rhino. Gonna start pushing up. You see Zera managing to copy onto the Junker Queen. This time, they are gonna hit somebody with the ult. It's gonna be Thunder, and Good Boys finally going to be taken out, but they managed to get 109 meters on that push pod.
109 meters is a pretty gnarly distance if you are Good Boys, especially with how much time is remaining. Only a little bit over 2 minutes to go. They don't have really any ultimates to their name. They are getting close to that coalescence. Afterlife only have you know, Lethal's EMP, and I guess Meadzer and Fix to look out for. And Lethal trying to play just a little bit close to the sun right there. Gotta be careful he doesn't get headshot by that May, and let's use that translocator back. Rhino on the Ramatra, trying to get something going for his team after being on the Wrecking Ball as well as the Winston, and getting pushed back there. The coalescence is going to be committed though.
Yeah, it's a very big fight for them, as Rhino is going to die. Unfortunately, that coalescence, that's not what they needed. Lethal does have the EMP. I don't imagine they attempt to invest here. They lose Rhino early in the fight, so they do have to starting one of they're going to do here right now, but Zera manages to find Biz. Zera manages to find 2 right now. Zera does not want to lose this fight. They do not want to give up any more progress to Good Boys right now, as they're going to start pushing the Salty, who is hacked right now. But remember, they still have both of the supports to be able to keep them up right now. So they do have the sustainability, and that's why you're going to see Zera go in. In fact, they're going to commit multiple ultimates to this fight. They need to win this now after throwing such a commitment into this. With Salty dropping, it's slowly but surely going that direction right now. With the last member right now, Pascal, managing to find the Baptiste somehow in that engagement right now, as Good Boys doing a good job of stalling that part, or that bot out a little bit, as Afterlife is finally going to win that fight and get some meterage.
Yeah, I think the stall was just long enough that Good Boys have built up a decent amount of ultimates. I mean, look, Thunder and Biz almost both having their ultimates. Salty coming up on the Rampage. Noctis already having the beat. And then Pascal getting very close to that coalescence. And the EMP, though, out of Lethal.
Yeah, Biz is going to be the first taken out. Salty following directly afterwards. And immediately, that is the fall right there. Zera finding 3K right there at the end, as Afterlife is going to now find that checkpoint. But now they're out of time. They have to win every fight from here on out. And if they don't, it's over. And Good Boys have every ult that they could want to their name coming up.
Yeah, that'll be very good for them. Noctis got hacked right there, but isn't going to fall I know Thunder wants to try and eliminate Zera as fast as he can. He does have the Pulse Bomb available. Can he get to the back line to get a stick onto anyone? Is it going to matter? But Zera falls!
As Zera falls, the pulse comes through. They're going to have to use the Annihilation just to stay alive, but the anti directly afterwards is going to take them out. It's only Lethal and Meter left on the point right now. Lethal trying to make some magic happen, but there is no magic left for Afterlife as they pass on, and Good Boys are going to win the series 3-1.
Good Boys just having too many resources to their name. Afterlife just weren't able to keep up with it. I mean, they had literally everything, Hunter. They had every single ultimate that they could have desired. And, you know, they just got such a good push going at the very start of it that it was really hard to break that momentum. It was hard for Afterlife to get any type of counter push going. They managed to get it at the very end, but keep in mind, whenever you do secure that spawn advantage, any death timers that your opponents have get reduced to 3 seconds. So even though they just killed people and it would have been about an 8 or 9 second timer, they immediately got changed to 3 seconds. So they didn't have any time to breathe, didn't have any time to chill. It was immediately back into the next fight, and they just weren't prepared for the amount of ultimates that Good Boys had. And Afterlife, they are going to fall to 1-4 in the standings.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, and that's the advantage of holding your ultimates. You saw Good Boys, yeah. They did hold back a bit on that fight beforehand that happened near the center. I think they realized they didn't need to win this fight. We could hold on to these ultimates. We can have 4 or 5 for this next fight, and we could just hit every Q and just take over this game. And it was a very, very smart move for them to do so. And Afterlife just, what can you do in that situation? With just one annihilation to your name, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, it turns out when you hit Q more times than your opponent, there's a big chance that you win the fight, especially if the amount of Qs you hit are more than double what your opponent has available. So Good Boys going to move to 3-2 in the standings. A little bit more breathing room for them, not having to worry about being in that lower 6. Being 6 is still within the upper 600, so it doesn't even matter at that. But Afterlife going to fall to tied for 9th, map differential being even worse than it was before this. It was 8-11, now it's 9-14. Something has got to change, and they got to figure it out before it gets too deep into the season.
Exactly right now, and remember, it's going to be the top 8 that are going to advance in any form whatsoever. It's that bottom 4, that 9th and below, that's going to take them out of it. But their next match, they do have a really good chance. They're going up against Worldwide, who still has yet to win a match thus far. But right now, little peek behind the curtain, they're currently up on Amplified 2-1 right now. So maybe Worldwide is picking up some momentum. They might be able to get their first win. And if they do, Afterlife might be running into a little bit of a tougher beast than they imagined. But Good Boys, in the meanwhile, is going to be going up against Wisp, who their match isn't concluded quite yet, but currently, before that, they're 3-1 right now. A tough team they're going to have to walk into. So both these teams, again, they just need to find something here. Good Boys getting to the upper side of the standings, but 1 win is not enough for you. 3-2 is not enough for you. They want to keep winning these matches, and Afterlife needs to find something.
Yeah, Good Boys. They are hoping that O3 Splash fall to Dragon Dance, who currently sitting at 1-4, so they don't exactly have the hottest record known to man. But if they're able to pull off that upset, not only does it help out Good Boys, but it hurts Afterlife, because then Dragon Dance would advance to 2-5, which would put them above Afterlife for the moment. So keep in mind, Afterlife, they still have a game to play, so it's not like they are stuck at 1-4 for the rest of the night and can't control their destiny. But they are definitely rooting for O3 Splash in that regard, because they know that they are not going to catch up to O3 Splash. At least at this point in the game. So they are just hoping they can crack into, like you're saying, that maybe 8th or 7th position, just to try and, secure a advance for them in whatever fashion it may be. Your trek to the top will be a lot harder. It will be a lot more difficult, but it'll be possible at that, because if you're in that bottom 9, or I'm sorry, the bottom 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, you don't have any type of post season 2 to look forward to. So just trying to find something that they can do to make themselves have some extra matches.
Yeah, and exactly like I said at the beginning, before this match happened, they had a lot of their tough opponents out the gate already. So there's a lot of these bottom half teams that they're going to be going up against right now, and that's their ticket to be able to make it into the top 10. They've already faced a lot of those top 5 teams already, and now including Good Boys, again, another team that's in that top 6. So the biggest thing is for them, they still have to go against. They go against Worldwide, they still have Rift, they still have a couple other people that are just on that lower side of the spectrum. So they still have plenty of ability to turn this around. Again, they just need to find that momentum because losing match after match, no matter who you are, that cannot feel good.
Yeah, cannot feel good. And we can see here the history of the season so far, as well as a look forward to the rest of the games. And just look at Good Boys. I mean, 1-3, 3-2, 3-2. They did have a 3-0, so it's not like all of their matches have gone the distance, but just adding a 3-1 victory over Afterlife to their docket. And Afterlife winning, like we're saying, winning against Pirates and then losing to everyone else. So they did take 0-3 Splash to 5 games though, so that is something to be proud about. But falling to Good Boys tonight, going to be playing worldwide sometime soon to be able to try and get some more ego back towards themselves. But for this stream, sadly, that is going to do it for us here with the Good Boys versus Afterlife matchup. I have been Podslim. That's been, did I point to the right direction? I did point to the right direction.
Yeah.
Let's go. That has been Hunter Tane. Hunter, any closing remarks?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I'm happy and excited to keep watching some more Good Boys, and overall, just keep watching some contenders because there are a ton of good matches still to come.
Yes, absolutely. Be on the lookout for the various social medias to see where we are streaming and when we are streaming and who we are streaming. But for this stream, that is going to be it. Thank you all for tuning in, and we hope you all have a wonderful night and a great rest of your week.
Peace.